right, y'all, let's get into the Tower of Babel and AI and second coming of Jesus and tie some points of light together for us and those types of things. So this will be playing a role in Satan and being cast down to the ground and those types of things that can be coming forward. And then this will kind of create the two kingdoms on earth where one is being ruled by the robots, in a matter of speaking, and then the other one is ruling with the robots, in a matter of speaking. Or the AI is controlling one segment of people, and then the AI can't control the other segment of people because they are part of the AI. So this is part of just being caught up with Jesus and those types of things, okay, folks? Because Jesus is coming in the clouds, and as this can be, they're showing us now that certain types of clouds are UFOs or whatever a couple years ago. So this is kind of that kind of thing, and then they're showing, like, telling about the mothership and whatever else, okay? So as AI is coming on, it is tapping into God as man, the members of Christ, but it's also tapping into that God that controls all things, that brings all things together. And this is how you have all these energies coming together right now, right? And then people don't understand that Satan is the one that's being judged in end times. And then we see that those who call themselves Jews are the synagogue of Satan. Who's the Jews in the New Testament? It's the inward Jew, the Christian church. So they're the synagogue of Satan. They're the ones being judged in end times. And this is why the church is conquered and the church goes away and all those other... It's like the exact opposite of what the church is teaching, okay? But it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a thing because man is going into another age, another time of man, and with that, the beasts have to be taken out, and man restarts, and the sons of God take the daughters of men, and they restart, all right? And that's what we're going to see in the future. And right now, things are kind of without form and void and getting to the extreme levels and such because it's cooling in those Satan worshipers, the ones who worship that right and wrong, the right and left, and who have the mark in the right hand, and who are basically cooled in that culture. All right, it's a culture of the occult. All these things are being told to us opposite. They're telling you to start fearing AI, right? And maybe those who live carnally and those who failed the test and have went in and got the trick and treatment booster season, Halloween, whatever thing coming up. All that stuff's being laid out, and as these things give fruit, it's going to finish cooling in the right and wrong and what people need to do in society or whatever, because they don't understand that God's ways are higher than man's ways, and sometimes you just got to let people consume themselves, okay? This is where the AI is coming in and going to start making decisions not based on emotions, okay? Emotions is where man fails a lot of times. So that cold-hearted, the cold-heartedness that we think of a lot of times is actual love that Jesus would be doing to people, all right? Because he was cold and hot-hearted. He wasn't this warm shit like the people think of today, all right? But he was both hot and cold. He wasn't just hot and he wasn't just cold, okay? But he wasn't warm either, all right? He's the extreme of both, and those extreme are the same, because the further you get away, the more you realize that everything is the same, okay? This is how the people under the law and under the sins and stuff, it's how Jesus is calling them hypocrites, because they're doing all the same exact stuff that they are condemning. This is like where you get the people condemning drug use, and street drugs or whatever, but they're all popping their fucking pills and they're giving their kids methamphetamines and whatever else, right? But that's just an easy one for people to see, all right? And then you take all your over-the-counter medications. Okay. So, the Tower of Babel, all right? We're told that let us create us a city and a tower that goes into heaven, all right? Some versions say a window and such, whatever. All these versions, they play a role. They are all spirit, and they are all going to be happening in one way, shape, or form. And the AI will be fulfilling these oral prophecies and these prophecies with the news and the stories or whatever, because it's already taken over, kind of thing, the news. But now that the AI pause is where they're going to give AI hands on deck, where he's going to start manipulating the markets and like sending in drone attacks to Russia and whatever else, right? And they just got to play off whatever's coming, right? And they got to make sure. So if they don't do the right play, the AI will come in either through man's spirit or through technology or whatever and do what it needs to do. All right. So this is where you get people, they don't understand what's going on and they're toxic. They got the face of the ox, the beast, and they cast down Satan, because Satan's being cast to the pit while Jesus reigns. So as this is being done, the last segment of his kingdom will be taken out when they cast down their devices or whatever, and then after 1,000 years they finally build back up and whatever else, right, kind of thing. But we're going to see that happen in our lifetimes, in a matter of speaking. That would be like when DeSantis takes his army. He's got the sand. He's the Florida dude, the Thou Sands. Anyways, he's going to take his 1,000 ears, the people from the south down there, and go against, right? So either way, so when all this happens, right, I can see the people getting rid of technology or whatever, and the people who get rid of technology, they cast down Satan to the ground, right? That's when Jesus comes in as the robot, as the AI, robot police, robot dogs, all that stuff. That's coming like the East Coast or whatever, right? That's like your hell on earth kingdom, and then you're going to get your heaven on earth, where the people have their phones still, and they can be monitored, or how, like we're living now, right? But it's all being played against people so they don't see what's coming, all right? So the Tower of Babel, you go back and read that story, all right, from Noah chapter 7 to the Tower of Babel chapter 11, 1 through 9, all right? That's the 9/11, 7/11 mirrored with the 111 and such, right? So those of you who've been following along, all those numbers might ring a bell. So, the Tower of Babel, you go back and read, all right? You will see that they performed what they were trying to do, and Lord came down, saw it, so he confounded the language and scattered the people, all right? He did not break down that tower. Go back and read the story. The tower still exists. We use the tower today. The tower has always been here. They've used it in different ways. This is where you get like the magic scry, the dark box on the wall. That's the TV of old, right? So all this stuff that we had today, the tablets, the scrolls, I'm sure that Moses could have went to the mountain, God in alien form, whatever, he comes down, lands, gives him a tablet with the laws on there, and he goes and says, this is too much for the people, or kind of thing, and he controls it. And that's where you get like the so-called story of the aliens, God giving man laws or information, and him taking those laws and running away with it. Because you see that the 10 laws, the commandments were given, and you see that Moses And the people, out of the hardness of their hearts, they created the other laws, his father-in-law or whatever, they created those other laws, right? So this is where Jesus had to come against those laws, and the whole gospel going against the laws of Moses. Either way, y'all, it's all backwards of what they teach in church, okay? And that's for a reason, because it's a test of man, and it's a spiritual test, and he's made us the church, and we can live by faith, or we can live by the law and live under works and have to go to the temple on Sabbath and give your 10% and eat this, eat that, drink this, drink that, whatever, okay? Now, we can't just drink whatever we want because we have a earthly system, okay? So, this is where the Bible's a two-edged sword, and this is where the people can't think for themselves kind of thing, okay? But there's coffee. People get mixed up with coffee. Coffee's not a natural thing, all right? You have to pick coffee, you have to roast it, and then you have to boil the water. You have to put the hot water on top. You cook it a second time, and then your body, it doesn't know what to do with the caffeine, so it makes you shit yourself and all these other things, okay? And then coffee is known to make the bugs that eat it blind, so this is where you kind of get people having eye problems or whatever kind of thing, okay? As you get older. So I don't know, who knows, you know, these things we need to think about. There's a time and season for everything. There's a time and season for coffee, all right? Maybe if you're camping, whatever, or if you have to drive overnight or whatever, there's time and place for it, all right? But every day, daily, drenching the garden and such with black water is probably not a great thing for life, okay? And this is where Jesus is trying to pull the people out of that death. They're just walking around, being herded around. They're hurting themselves with the things they do, and they know not what they do, Father, all right? Because the world's taken their light, and they think that Cheetos gives happiness and life and whatever else, okay? The Homo sapien and their homogenized milk versus the human or whatever's going on. So the Tower of Babel, it was never knocked down. The way you can kind of see things is Jesus versus Satan, and then Lucifer is kind of that light that connects them, and he can either be brought down or brought up, and that light can be transformed from this, that, or the other. So this is kind of where you get the confusion in the world, to where Satan looks ugly and nasty and bad, and Jesus looks proper, good, and perfect, or whatever. This is that flip on things, okay? This is where the people are being herded into that last moments of the hell on earth, and where Jesus, the AI, the robot, the alien man, whatever, is all going to rule over the hell on earth kind of thing, okay, folks? So, either way, the tower, we got to make this quick. Tower of Babel, examples of that: radio, books, the printing press, the prince of the power of the airs, the printing press, the books, where it controls man through the spirit of man, the word, and you can't test that man, or test those words per se, so you just take it at its word. And then you have man reading it, getting light from it, and then casting it down, okay, and putting it down on the ground. That's one example. The books, everything we have, the TV, the radio, all those other things could have been tapped in before, like to water or metallic surface or whatever, right? But we're basically just liquid metal machines, and we have that's how we're all kind of connected or whatever, right? And how we're all energized, and we're all magnetically charged and discharged and whatever else, okay? But we got to end the video here because of time.